This is my critical reflection video essay. For my coursework, I created an opening sequence of a film called What It Hides. This was an intense, gory-filled opening sequence that was situated within the genre of horror and slasher films. Firstly, how does my product use or challenge conventions? Within my genre of horror and slasher films, a key part of making these productions so scary and filled with fear for the audience is they deny the audience of information. This is a key convention of this genre, because by doing this, the audience are left guessing and start to panic for the sake of the characters. One of the key ways this is always done in these types of films is the attacks on the characters and sinister activity almost all the time occurs at night. Therefore, there is limited visibility for the audience and characters because it's dark. This creates a foreboding paranormal atmosphere in the scene. Another key convention that is used across this genre is symbolism, and one of the main symbols is blood, because blood symbolises pain and gore. A key theme when I researched into this genre is innocent characters stumbling across and finding blood right before they are attacked. It's almost like a warning from the killer that every time these characters ignore the signs, and then it comes back to haunt them shortly after. In our opening sequence, the two electricians, upon entry to the dark basement, come across a bloody handprint on the wall. This immediately red alerts danger to the characters and the audience, but this is also highly mysterious, as the characters and the audience are kept in the dark and are in the same situation as the protagonists. This creates a huge sense of mystery and sparks fear into the audience. The fear of the unknown through doing my research is what fuels fear into the modern day audiences. Therefore, this convention is key when creating a product within this genre. For the soundtrack of my opening sequence, we needed something sinister that builds tension, but it needs to be subtle and non-diegetic, as there is dialogue between my two characters. During my research into conventions of films within this genre, I came across the film It Follows. The soundtrack from this was perfect inspiration for my opening sequence.
What's the matter? What's going on? Annie?
The subtle building bass and vibrations are perfect for building tension and will work well with the titles and atmosphere I want to create for our opening sequence. Therefore, we wanted to create something similar. Here is what we produced for our piece. Finally, in my opening sequence, we used a typical slasher and horror convention that is used across these types of films, where right before the killer strikes, we see a low-angle shot of the innocent, helpless victim looking up at the killer just before they strike. Although this could be seen as cliché, this is always effective as it outlines the helplessness of the victim and the power of the killer over the innocent character. How does it represent social groups or issues? For my opening sequence, one of the key representations is of the working class. The two protagonists of my opening sequence are both working class electricians that are on the job. They are represented as cheerful despite clearly being given a horrible dark job in a frightening location. They just get on with it. They are also represented as equal with no signs of hierarchy or management. They seem more like friends than work colleagues. They both have equal power and are shown to be in it together, which is a key way in which the working class are represented in the modern world. The main representation in my opening sequence is gender. The way in which we represented this complied with the stereotype, as we showed the two men working on a technical task, fixing a fuse board right before the attack. This creates the sort of handyman image for my opening sequence, surrounding the male gender. Finally, another representation in my piece is binary opposition, as when the two characters are first introduced, they are seen as jolly, hard-working electricians, but we see a change in the relationship and meaning as they become potential victims when the lights go completely out, and after that, their presence and power is gone as they become weak and vulnerable. contrasting to the beginning of the sequence, as they are shown as resilient and almost fearless when they just breeze past the bloody hand which has now come back to get them.